Actually, on the 23rd, am I correct, Lynn? Is our 20th year wedding anniversary.
It's on the 27th, you goon.
Okay. I was seeing if you were paying attention. Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your hostess, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lynn.
We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.
Nice! And joining us again, the podcaster with a fully packed bong, Pat.
Ho, ho, ho.
This week we will be discussing the 1989 comedy Christmas Vacation, written and co-produced by John Hughes and directed by Jeremiah S. Check, and starring Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, Randy Quaid. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. And now, it is time for another installment of Disaster Piece Theater. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to Disaster Piece Theater, where me and my two co-hosts will act out one scene from the movie that we are reviewing for you this evening. So please, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Alright, quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action.
Clark, what's wrong? It's bigger than you expected? Smaller? Well, what is it?
It's a 1-year membership to the Jelly of the Month Club.
That's the gift that keeps giving on all year, Clark.
That it is, that weird. That it is indeed.
I'm sorry.
Fucking Edwin.
And weird.
Edwin. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Clark.
If this isn't the biggest bag over the head punch in the face I ever got, god damn it. Hey, if any of you are looking for last minute gift ideas for me, I have one. I'd like to see Frank Shirley, my boss, here, tonight. I want him here, brought from his happy holiday slumber over on Melody Lane with all the other rich people. And I want him brought here, right here, with a big red ribbon on his head. And I want to look him straight in the eye. And I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, rotten, no good, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit. He really is. Hallelujah. Holy shit. Where's the Tylenol?
Cut! Cut! Cut!
Amen. Okay.
Oh, shit.
That was a pretty good one.
That was lovely.
And now, it is time for the Fast Five. This week's topic is movie sequel versus original. And I will start with Pat. Pat, number one, the original Star Wars, A New Hope, or The Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
Dylan,
Empire, all day long.
you're both wrong.
No.
It is, the correct answer is Star Wars.
There is no correct answer. This is an opinion.
That's what they keep
Dumbass.
telling me. That's what they keep telling me. Okay, number two, Pat, Batman or Batman Returns.
Batman.
Dylan,
Batman Returns.
the correct answer is Batman Returns. Okay, Number 3. The original Die Hard, or Die Hard with Vengeance. This is the one with Samuel L. Jackson. Pat.
Vengeance.
Dylan.
I love Vengeance, but it's the original for me.
You are incorrect. The correct answer is Die Hard with Vengeance. Okay. Question number 4, Pat. The original Lethal Weapon, or Lethal Weapon 4 with Butter's Biscuits.
Ooh, I'm going with 4.
Dylan, same question.
Also going with 4.
And 4 is, in fact, the correct answer.
Ding, ding, ding,
And-
ding, ding.
We have a sweep on number 4. And the 5th and final one, Terminator or T2. Pat.
The original.
Dylan.
Oh, T2.
Oh, and the correct answer is, in fact, T2. You've got that one right. Okay. Yeah, the guys on the music podcast Breaking Vinyl keep telling me that just because I say it so doesn't mean it's real. So,
Yeah,
Right.
well, we all know that.
okay.
Anyone who knows you knows that.
Let's do some opening thoughts on this one. I'll get it started. So, I've obviously seen this movie a bazillion times. I love it. I am a fan of the entire Vacation franchise. Have been since I was a small child and I saw the original. I used to watch this original movie with a neighbor that lived upstairs. And we got to the point where we could quote the entire movie word for word as it went on and not miss a single line in the movie. I mean, that's how much I love the original Vacation, which we will eventually break down. But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's a great Christmas movie. I think that Chevy Chase is in all of his glory. His comedic timing, his faces, his line delivery, just everything. It's great. Tons of callbacks from the original movie. I really, really like this movie a lot. Pat, have you seen it before preparing for the podcast?
I saw bits and pieces of it, but I watched it 3 times since last night, and I found that I enjoyed it more each time I watched it, because I noticed something that wasn't quite visible the first time, and the third time I saw it, I just found there was a lot of humor to it that I just didn't expect.
Yeah, it's good. And Dylan?
Definitely have seen it before. It's a classic. I don't have the same amount of love for it that you have. I'm also not the Chevy Chase person that you are, but it's a funny movie. You can put it on in the background at the holiday season, and it's relatively unoffensive. It's offensive,
Yeah,
in some
exactly.
ways, but
It's all good fun.
yeah, it's all in good fun. There's parts of it that I could literally skip over and not miss, but there's some good comedy here to be had.
Oh, there's so many great characters in this. I mean, Bethany and the uncle, the hairpiece. I mean, there's just Eddie. It's just full of great characters. Todd and Margot. I love it all. So this one has a budget of $25 million and the box office gross of $73 million. So this is considered a huge success. Dylan, please give us the synopsis.
All right. As the holidays approach, Clark Griswold wants to have a perfect family Christmas, so he pesters his wife, Ellen, and his children as he tries to make sure everything is in line, including the tree and house decorations. However, things go awry quickly. His hick cousin Eddie and his family show up unplanned and start living in their camper on the Griswold property. Even worse, Clark's employers renege on the holiday bonus he's been counting on.
Nice. All right. Let's break this bitch down. We open with Clark and Ellen singing Christmas carols in the car on the way to a Christmas tree lot out in the country. As Audrey and Rusty are increasingly uninterested in Clark's plan to put on the perfect Griswold Christmas, Clark gets into a dangerous game of cat and mouse with some truck drivers after he's cut off and flips them off. This ultimately causes Clark to veer the car off the road and jump over 500 feet as the Griswolds find their perfect tree. Audrey is frozen solid and Rusty reminds Clark that he forgot to bring a saw. Back home, as Clark gets out of his Christmas decorations,
God.
Back home, as Clark gets out his Christmas decorations and begins setting up the tree, he makes an off-color joke to his pretentious yuppie neighbor Todd about where he'd like to put the tree. That night, the excess sap causes Clark to stick to everything that he touches. All right, these opening scenes, I love this. So right off the bat, we are going to get a driving scene. And this is, these are callbacks to the originals. These are great. We've got an updated family truckster. It's still the 4-door, station wagon with the wood paneling, but it's an updated truckster. He's going to inevitably jump the car 50 yards. This time, he's going to jump it a little further, which I think is great. Even though the jump looked further in the original, but he jumps the car. And there are some great lines in these scenes, as well as some really nice comedic timing from Ellen, specifically when she's trying to defuse the road rage incident, where he's getting on. She's like, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." He's like not having it. he's not having it. Eat my rubber. It's just, I love Clark. He's got every fucking line wrong. He's just clueless. Fucking Pat, what do you got on these opening scenes?
It's funny. I thought to myself as you're talking about how he got all the lines wrong. The eat my rubber and burn my dust.
Yeah.
All I could, in my mind, immediately just went to Biff from Back to the Future. Funny as a screen door in a submarine. Make like a tree and get out of here. That's all I can think of as I'm watching him screw these up.
It's so good. So good.
As you're bringing up the paneling, the station wagon, and the road scene and the jump, I think I would have found more humor in this had I seen the original Vacation, because there's clearly a lot of callbacks to the original movie.
Wait a second, you've never seen the original?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
You
got to keep in mind. You got to remember, I'm not the comic and Chevy Chase fan that Des is.
But I'm not either, and I've seen it. So,
well,
dude,
what can I say? I'm in a rut watching what I like, and that's one of the things I like about doing this podcast, because I've seen movies I've never seen before and probably never would have.
True enough. Okay.
When Clark drives under the 18-wheeler and Ellen goes, "Clark, you're under the truck." He goes, "You honestly think I don't know this?"
I know, that was so funny.
I am fucking laughing out loud. And when the fucking rednecks brake check him.
Oh God. And then after the final jump and they come to a stop, you see a boot in front of Ellen's face, and it's Audrey because she was flung to the front of the car.
Well, that's okay. So that's
awesome.
That's a callback from the original too. Where the entire family is winds up in the front seat after the crash, and Audrey's got her period. Rusty's punctured his brain, picking his nose. It's all funny. It's all really funny, but this opening scene is great. And also when he says to the family, "Look, a reindeer," and then he flips off
off the driver.
There's a reason why Clark doing this has become a meme on, like, you go on Facebook and you'll see the Clark doing this as a meme. It's iconic.
Yeah. There you go. The only part of the scene that I thought was really a little beyond silly was the trek into the woods to find the tree. Right. I'm watching this and I'm like, where the hell are they going? And he finds the tree, and the look on his face when Rusty points out he doesn't have a saw. And then they they immediately skip to the tree tied to the car.
I love it.
And it's pulled out by the roots. And the only thing my mind said was, how the fuck did he get that tree to that car? That's all I could think of.
This is not a question you have to ask. Delyn, what do you got on these opening scenes?
First of all, when they jump the car and they land, don't they land in a tree lot?
Of course,
because
that's the same joke from the first one, where but that's where Clark falls asleep at the wheel in the first movie, and and you know the car spins out of control, and they wind up at the hotel. Up and at 'em. We're here.
But I don't understand why you don't just buy a tree at the tree lot then. Why are you going out into the middle of nowhere to find this tree?
Well,
Because
that's why I had
Griswold.
to question.
Oh God.
That's
And then
why I questioned why they were trekking.
and then of course the sap gag. The sap gag is friggin' hilarious. I love
Yeah,
it,
best.
especially when it gets stuck in her hair.
Yeah.
Like he's like, "Honey, I love you," and then he goes like this, and it's just like,
Yeah, well, this is
And then he reaches
classic.
for the lamp, and the
And the
lamp
lamp
is stuck to it. That scene made me pee my pants. I was laughing so hard at that.
And this is Chevy Chase Saturday Night Live as the news
Absolutely.
reporter. As I mean, this is, you know, he's pulling out all the Chevy stops on this, and I love it. I fucking love
yeah.
it.
It was a great scene.
Yeah, and again, you know, when we meet Todd and Margot here for the first time, and you know,
Ugh.
he's you know, bend over and I'll show you, and Todd says, "How dare you speak to me that way?" And he goes, "I wasn't talking to you." And Todd
That
looks
was-
over at Margot. It's fucking great. And, you know, he comes out with the chainsaw, the hockey mask. I mean, this is all just great stuff.
Is this pre-Seinfeld?
No. This is after Seinfeld.
Okay, so she was already kind of a little bit of a star.
Yeah.
Which is
Interesting.
probably why she was put in there, because Todd and Margot were horrible.
But were they horrible? Who would you rather live next door to? Todd and Margot with their nice clean house, quiet neighbors, or this fucking jabroni? You know, they're not fucking up his house. They're not breaking his fucking windows and stereos and causing them to fucking fall down with blindness and having their neighbors fucking pumping shit into the sewers. And no, they're just normal people. Fucking
They were
Clark
far
is-
from normal. They were yuppies, and that was
Yeah.
why I thought they were horrible, because they
Oh.
they were written to look and be the way they are. I mean, when they came walking in with their silver track suits, I almost cried. I'm like, are you shitting me?
Yeah,
Well, if
so
you-
I just looked it up. Christmas Vacation, this movie came out in 1989, and the first episode of Seinfeld came out in 1989. So this is basically concurrent.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. She didn't look, she looked about the same age to me. So
Yeah, she
Right.
did.
okay. So, let's, move forward. The rest of the movie is told through the style of an advent calendar, starting with December 14th. The Griswold family is busy department store buying Christmas presents. Clark can be seen hitting on department store Mary in front of his son Rusty. That night, Ellen's parents and Clark's parents arrive at the house. It's obvious the two sets of parents do not get along. So it's funny. This scene right here where the parents show up. I'm going to jump just ahead to this one. This reminded me of when all the parents show up in 16 Candles. Very similar
Vibe.
vibe in the way it's shot. It's very manic. It's closing in on, you know, this person to this person. You're hearing all these little mini conversations. And I love all of these conversations because these are all like, oh, my bunion, I've got a hemorrhoid. I've got this little skin thing. You know, can you look at it? Does this look like cancer? This is me at breakfast every morning. Okay? Oh, God.
This
and-
does not surprise me.
Not
yeah.
even breakfast. He wakes me up in the morning with this. He
Did you see
literally
this
comes.
mole? Is it
Yeah,
changing
he'll-
color?
Honey, wake up, honey. Can you look
No.
at this? What is this? He's done that
Dude.
so many times.
Dude, tell
I
her
think it's
about,
cancer.
tell her about the picture I sent you from work the other day.
Who?
on my
Who'd you
phone?
send a picture to?
You.
What picture? What are you talking about?
I sent you the pictures from work about with the little red dots. And you
Right.
asked me why I'm fucking have my shirt off at work.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes, he sends me photographs. It's like a little, the little red dot that everyone has. It's a little red mole. It's called a cherry angioma. I know it because I'm an esthetician. But he's like, "What is this? This is like a blood blister? Is this cancer?" Like I'm like, "Nope, it's just a red mole. You'll live. Everyone's got them."
Cancer.
And then she
Yes.
says, "What are you doing with your clothes
your
off
shirt
at
off."
work?"
Because he said, "I took my shirt off and I saw this." And I was like, "Why do you have your shirt off at work?" Like, I don't understand this.
Okay, you wouldn't understand.
That would have
Pat,
been my first question.
And Pat, when they're in the when they're in the department store and he's talking to Mary. This
Best
is
scene.
the best. Like this is.
Best
Go ahead,
scene.
talk about the way he's talking and all the
Oh.
innuendos.
Everything he's trying not to say, he says. It's why am I wearing my coat? Well, it's cold outside. It is a bit nippy out. Everything he tried not to say, he said, and it just made me laugh harder with the next thing he tried not to say.
Not that I have a log.
Oh God, when he got to the log, I was crying. And then he realizes that his kid's next to him. Yeah, you can't even see the line, can you, Rusty? No, Dad, you can't. And the eyes almost fall out of his head when he realizes what he just said to who.
And then when he says, "'Tis the season to be merry," and she says, "That's my name," and he goes, "No shit."
That was
fucking-
best. It is the funny, for me, it is one of the few funniest scenes in the movie. There are some that are great, like when he goes off in his rant like you did for the disaster piece. But there's no question that scene in the department store was probably the best moment for me. Because he was absolutely hysterical.
And every scene between him and Randy Quaid, every scene with his lines, can I take you out to the middle of nowhere and leave you for dead? I mean, there's so many great lines.
Awesome.
So, Lynn, give us the woman's point of view on this scene from the department store.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that this is a woman that's looking to make a sale. She's using her wiles to do so. And poor Clark is the hapless bumpkin that just happens to be trapped in her web. At least that's from my perspective.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but if I'm not mistaken, this was model Paulina Poroskova.
Correct. Super hot. You can't even see the fucking
At
line.
the time, her name was all over Vogue and all the modeling shows. And I'm amazed she didn't get any credit at all. Even in the credits in the movie, as they're rolling through, I'm like, she didn't get any credit at all.
That's interesting.
So we open up December 15th. That night, Clark reveals to Rusty his plans for illuminating the entire house with thousands of bulbs. Audrey tells Ellen that her plan of sleeping in the same room as her brother is sick and twisted and asks her if she sleeps with her brother. Ellen tells her, "I sleep with your dad." Jesus. Fucking, these are all just great scenes. He takes the kid out to the garage, pulls out the ball of light. Here, you work on this. I love Rusty. He's not interested in any of this.
Oh, no.
No, it's fucking classic. And again, a lot of these lines and scenes really bring me back to 16 Candles. I don't know which one was first, but it's the same. I mean, Molly Ringwald and the little brother in 16 Candles have almost the identical foil that these two have. They play off each other the same. Really good. Really good. That's another movie we have to do.
16 Candles was first. It was 84.
Yeah. Okay. What do you guys got on this? These are pretty miniature scenes I'm reading out here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But that's the whole point. So, who did you say wrote this? John Hughes. That's why it sounds like 16 Candles.
Oh, same writer.
Isn't that who wrote 16 Candles?
Sure.
Works for him.
Yeah, it was John Hughes. It was John Hughes. So it makes total sense why there's so much. It's related.
Okay, so yeah, this movie is he took a lot of callbacks from the original Vacation movie and he feathered it in with the script and the character building from 16 Candles, because I am seeing a lot of the same characters and a lot of the same dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on. Clark sets about illuminating the house with lights and a few other decorations like a plastic Santa. His first attempt at setting the lights up ends in near disaster with several broken windows and Clark stapling the sleeve of his shirt to the roof. The yuppie neighbors, Todd and his wife Margot, are complaining about Clark destroying their stereo and carpet in the process. Dude, the hanging of the lights. Again, this is Chevy Chase. Classic Chevy. Physical comedy here, using the ladder as a prop for his comedy is, dude. Oh, when the thing closes on him, and as a painter, that's one of my worst nightmares. Falling back against a tree, stapling himself to the house. These are fucking great scenes. Pat, what you think?
Watching him put the lights up was so funny. Everything with the ladder was great. The ladder falling down, sliding back down was good. But I think the best Chevy part of that was when he goes back up and he pushes the ladder back against the house, it flips him around to the backside of the ladder, and his hand moves like 4 times trying to figure out where to put his hand on the ladder. I was in tears. I'm like, oh my God, that is classic Chevy Chase right there.
It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. Dylan?
I mean, the dude staples himself so many times to the house. It's like...
Yeah. Now, I don't know the ins and outs, but should you be stapling that many staples through your shingles or no?
I would never.
No.
Yeah,
no, you don't.
No.
You don't do that.
Looking
Not
for
to
leaks.
mention, you're also looking to put a staple through the wire, and that seems like that's a hazard, to put a metal staple through a wire, an electrical wire.
Dude,
Yeah, the cat finds out. The cat finds out.
I love after like the first ladder mishap, and he gets it back up, and he kind of, when he falls down, and he kind of looks around to see if anybody saw. It's so fucking good. And there's a couple of these scenes. So when he falls and he grabs onto the fucking gutter, and the ice spear goes through Todd and Margot's, and then he falls into the bush, and Ellen comes out, Clark, time for dinner. Okay, I'll be right in, honey. He's in the bush.
He's in the bush.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Ridiculous.
Okay. Clark sets about illuminating the house.
I think you already did that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
December 17th. Clark is at his potentially very important meeting with his boss, Mr. Shirley. He believes this is the key to landing a bigger holiday bonus. And as his associate, Bill, discusses what they're planning to do with their bonuses, Clark reveals that he is putting in a tiny little swimming pool. And he's very excited about it. Dylan, what do you got?
Oh, for the days when a Christmas bonus could put a swimming pool in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's not a thing anymore.
No. I won't be putting a pool in with my bonus this year.
You mean your Jelly of the Month club?
Actually, for a small company, Pat and I do receive a very generous Christmas bonus every year.
This is true.
At least I do. Sometimes Pat doesn't.
Oh, no.
Which is quick to point out as often as possible.
Oh, God.
No, your boss has been very good to you over the years, so I can.
Yes,
no
he
complaints.
has.
No
Yes,
complaints.
he has.
Yeah, but you see, he's setting up himself up for heartbreak this early in the movie. You see it coming like from a mile away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dude, so Mr. Shirley, first of all, he calls him Greaseball instead of Greasewald, and he calls him Bill. And I love when everybody walks by. Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Happy Hanukkah. Fucking again. These are great Chevy Chase lines. He is fucking bringing it in this movie. And this is why everybody has to see the original Vacation, where he creates this character, Clark Griswold. And after watching this, it really became clear to me that this is 100% my favorite character that Chevy Chase plays. Clark Griswold. This is it. It's better than Fletch. Fact, not opinion. Pat, what do you got on these office scenes?
I loved his coffee mug.
So good.
The Tasmanian Devil was great. Seeing Brian Doyle Murray again is really good, playing Mr. Shirley.
Yeah.
He could not have had any less respect for Clark. Can't get his name right. Wants to make sure that he makes the report in layman terms. And what was his co-worker's name? Bill. I can't remember. I mean, I've seen him in so many movies.
Yeah.
What the hell was his name? Sam McMurray.
Yes.
Every time you see him, your mind just goes, geez, I remember this guy. You've seen him like 100 friggin' times.
In everything.
In everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Good actor. So Clark is nearly finished setting up the lights. He calls the entire family out onto the lawn to see, but the reveal is a bust because the lights do not turn on when he plugs them in. Another great scene. I love the daughter. Hey, it looks great even if they didn't turn on. You know, the son. I'd love to help you check all the bulbs, but I got something to do. And
I have
you
to
know,
pay bills.
yeah, and
I've got
and
homework to do still.
the fucking, the way you just know that fucking Ellen's father just doesn't like Clark, takes every opportunity he can to just fuck him, just to give him the biggest fuck you comments. And I love it. I think it's great. And then his dad, son, you have to check every bulb. If you need my help, I'll be inside sleeping. Fucking great.
And Ellen's mother was just as bad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just wish somebody could have been there to like slap her in the face when she says, "You see, kids, this is a perfect example of such a perfect waste of resources."
Oh,
I
so
mean,
good.
his mother-in-law is telling his kids he's an asshole, and it's like,
Oh,
"Oh, you bitch!"
yeah. Yeah. They're fucking not good people.
No,
I love them though. Okay, December 19th, Clark goes to hide some Christmas presents he bought in the attic and discovers some that he simply forgot about several years ago. Unfortunately, he's locked in the attic, and the family thinks he disappeared working on getting the light display up and running. They give up on trying to find Clark and head for the mall. Now trapped in the attic, Clark passes the time by watching some old family reels of Christmas past. That night, Clark is desperate to get the lights working. When his mom flips the switch in the garage, the lights finally come on. They turn back off when she flips the switch back down. Somehow, Ellen figures the switch situation out and comes out to enjoy the lights with the triumphant Clark. As the Griswold's house is illuminated, it causes massive power surge that requires the city's auxiliary power to be turned on. As the family stares in awe, the neighbors are nearly destroyed in their house by blinding light and then total darkness. And as Clark is stunned by the sudden and completely unannounced arrival of Cousin Eddie and his family and their dog Snot. Pat, what do you got on these scenes?
watching Clark totally freak out when the lights aren't working. How everybody tries to console him.
Oh, so good.
The better part was when you see all the extension cords and the adapters plugged into the switch that is attached to the light switch that turns the light in the garage or wherever the hell that room
It's in
was.
the garage. It's in the
It's
garage.
in the garage. I thought so. There's got to be like 15 different switches plugged into each other. That
It's so
is
good.
the most amazing fire hazard. It was so funny. I'm waiting to see sparks and fire every time that switch is turned on.
It's so
Uh,
good.
I think the lights come on. You see the power in the background, and the city and the valley start to fade. Someone has to turn on the nuclear auxiliary
Oh,
power.
so
Oh
good.
my God, the meter, the wheels on Clark's meter spinning like they were a. Oh my
And
God,
then
that
and
was
then when they zoom out on the town and you see fucking Clark's house, it's fucking outrageous. So Lynn, what do you got on these?
Living in New England, we've all lived in an old house that has the switch that nobody knows what it does.
Right.
This is like the
right.
perfect, like it was like that's it. The switch that nobody knows what it does. That's it. That's that thing right there. So it was very realistic, and that scene itself is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. Is this goofiness with the light switch and the lights and coming on, going off, coming on, knocking out Todd and Margot. Like the whole thing is hilarious. The thing with Clark up in the attic, I could have skipped that whole thing. Like
Yeah.
Okay,
just
so this is what I have to say about that. Okay, so it's the part of the movie that I did watch the first time I watched the movie, but it is the part that I fast forward every time. But
Mhm.
with that being said, I thought it was very important to this movie to include that scene for the first viewing. And everybody's going to watch this movie for the first time once. And that's why it has to be in there. This is a Christmas movie. And it gives the movie a little heart. And it makes you relate with Chevy Chase and Clark Griswold is more than just a goofball. That is just a slapstick character in a satire comedy. Because you start to feel for him a little bit. I mean, yeah, he steps on some boards, he hits himself with some heads, but he sits up there and he watches these old movies of his his children growing up, and he's crying, and it's a nice genuine moment that I think belongs in a Christmas movie. Yeah, so that's kind of how I felt about that.
Yeah. I mean, I could have just done without it. It didn't need to be there. This is a slapstick movie. It's mostly silly.
It is, but it's still a Christmas movie, and it's one that you're going to want to break out at Christmas, and it gives you a grain, I say so, a nutty eat on cheese of the field.
Jesus.
Can we ever get through a single fucking podcast without him using that?
You know what's going to be funny is if we ever do Sideways, I won't do it. Okay.
I would like to add. I would like to add that one of the greatest parts of the scene when they're out and the lights come on is when out of nowhere Eddie shows up.
Yeah. So
Clark is talking to his parents. He's getting congratulations, and the next thing you know, Eddie is right there.
It's the best.
I mean, you don't see the RV pull up. You don't see it go into the driveway. All you know is suddenly Clark's talking to Eddie, and he's just as fucking surprised as everyone else was.
So we get the money shot. He goes nuts on on all the Santa Claus and the reindeer. He's doing the karate chops. I love it. So another callback you've never seen Vacation. He punches Marty Moose in the nose when he gets to Wily World.
I remember that. I do remember that.
He does the same thing to Santa Claus here. They make a point of showing Santa Claus with his face fucking punched in.
Dented in, yep.
Yes, so this is a callback. I'm laughing out loud when he's losing his shit here. And then he grabs the two cords, holds them out each side, and pulls them over his head, and the sparks fly, and the house lights up. And it's great. He goes over to his dad. Dad, you taught me everything I know about exterior illumination. I'm fucking laughing out loud. And then enter Eddie, Catherine, Rocky, Ruby Sue, and their dog Snot. And, Catherine says, well, Eddie wanted it to be a surprise. And Eddie says, you surprised, Clark? And Clark says, I wouldn't be more surprised if I woke up tomorrow morning with my head sewn to the carpet, Eddie. I'm fucking laughing. This is great shit.
There was also a really funny little bit where the house is illuminated, and he's right before he's starting hugging, he's hugging Ellen, and then he hugs his mother, but Ellen is still in between them. And if you look at Beverly D'Angelo, she's going, because she's in between the two of them, and he's hugging his mother, and his mother's just like, Clark, it's beautiful. And Ellen is like,
squished.
Yeah,
I didn't pick up on that the first time. That was what I mean with, like, I saw things the second time around I didn't see the first time, and all you see is her face, and she looks like she's being sandwiched between them. Exactly, from the eyes up, it was too funny.
We get another callback from the original. So in the original, when they pull up at Eddie and Catherine's house while driving across the country, again, Eddie is going in for the French kiss with Ellen. And Ellen is doing everything she can to avoid him kissing her directly on the lips. And he goes for that again here. And Eddie is just so inappropriate. At one point in the movie, he says to Rusty, hey, come on, let's go find your sister. and in the original, his daughter Vicky, who is in rehab for the wild turkey in this movie, she says to Clark's daughter, I go steady and French kiss. And, Clark's daughter says, so everybody does that. And Eddie's daughter says, yeah, but Daddy says I'm the best at it.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, Eddie's questionable, man. This guy's fucked up.
Well, you only need to see him standing in the bathrobe, dumping the shit pipe into the sewer to know that.
Oh, it's fucking great stuff. Okay, the Griswolds decide to have some weekend fun and go sledding. Clark reveals his big project that he's been working on with his chemical company, an experimental kitchen lubricant. I fucking love this scene. He greases up his sled and sails down the mountain at unusually high speeds, electrifying everything in his path. So I've seen this a million times, and I'm fucking laughing out loud. And I'm laughing out loud because there's so many great lines here, you know. And again, it's another callback. So in the original, Eddie's asking Clark for some money to borrow, and he says, you know, the government cut back my pension check, said the plate in my head ain't big enough, and he cracks a beer off his skull. In this one, he reveals that they had to remove the metal plate and replace it with government plastic. And he says, you know, all I got is some plastic here between my head and that ground. I don't know, I should be going down that mountain. And Clark looks at him and says, Eddie, do you really think it matters? And I'm fucking laughing out loud. This shit is fucking great. Oh, man. He goes down this mountain.
Do you remember why he had to get the plate removed?
Oh, yeah, because... Go ahead, tell him. It's fucking hilarious.
I had to get the plate removed because every time she used the microwave, I peed myself and forgot who I was for about a half hour.
It's fucking great.
I was losing it.
Oh, I fucking love
Such
Eddie.
a great line.
I love Eddie. And when Eddie shows up, the movie really takes off. But Bethany and her husband, oh, God, I love these two. I love these two, and I love every skit around them. Dylan, what do you got on these scenes? The sledding debacle.
Like I said to you earlier, I feel like this was a missed opportunity for a callback because...
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, so, you know, he flies down the hillside on this sled, and later on we see the sled, and it's just like holes. You know, Eddie picks it up, and it's just holes. But I think instead of that, you have him go hit the thing, you know, the box at
Snowbank.
Walmart, or the snowbank, and have the sled take off into the air, right? At the end of the movie, when Santa Claus is going through the air, the sled should be behind him.
It would be pretty funny if it was still, like if it
That
was now
would have been good.
If it
Like
was
it's
now
still
circling
going.
the earth. If it was
Yes,
circling the earth.
It's still going.
That
Still
would
going.
So
have
to me,
been
that was a
good.
missed opportunity. I was like, oh, I wish that they had, I don't know. To me,
Yeah.
that would have worked.
That would have been a
there-
good callback.
And there were some
When
amazing.
you've got the Santa flying through the air on fire and Bethany's singing,
Yes.
that would have been a great callback
Yes.
to have the
the
sled
sled.
pass it or come up behind it.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That would have been
Um,
beautiful.
So before this happens, right after Eddie shows up, Eddie and Clark are in the living room talking, and Eddie is now wearing the white shoes. So Eddie gives Clark a pair of white leather shoes in the first one as a gift. And, you know, Rusty says, oh, gee, Dad, those are great. And Clark says, quiet down, Rusty. Thanks, Eddie. I love them. He goes, I knew you did because you commented on how much you liked mine last time I saw you. So Eddie is now wearing the white leather fucking shoes. And this outfit he's wearing is great. And Dylan pointed out that he's wearing, what is it, Dylan, under the white sweater?
So it's called a dickie. And it's when it's a neck piece, but it's just a little square. It doesn't have sleeves. It doesn't go to the bottom. But because he's wearing a white sweater and a black dickie, you can see the black dickie.
It's great. He's so fucking clueless.
So low
So-
class.
So Clark has one of those little, and you know, Clark is this guy that he just wants everything to be perfect. And I am a bit of a Clark. This is like just, I want everything to be perfect, but I am just, I can't get out of my own way. All right.
Say it isn't so.
And it's funny because if you came up into my room, because Dylan and I split a condo. She lives downstairs, I live upstairs. So if you come up here, it looks like Margot and Todd's condo. Like it's that anal and weird and 80s, and there's not a grain of sand out of place, and there's giant plastic plants, and it's just bizarrely clean up here, okay? So Clark has this like wooden thing with a propeller that is propelled by a candle, and it's like a windmill, but it's on its side. And you know, fucking Eddie goes over and he just destroys it by touching it with his hands. And we're gonna get some great physical comedy where Clark is trying to put it back together, and it's just he can't get it back together. And you know, he says to Eddie, you know, can I get you anything? He goes over to the bowl for the eggnog. Can I get you anything? You know, some eggnog, drive you out to the middle of nowhere, leave you for dead. And Eddie is so, no, Clark, I'm fine, thank you. I'm laughing out loud.
And they're also drinking out of Marty Moose cups.
They are. They're Marty Moose cups. I fucking love all of this. And he says, you know, the daughter's into rehab for the wild turkey, and the son is getting ready. The oldest son is getting ready for his new career. And Clark says, college? He goes, no, carnival. He was spreading pixie dog on Tilt-A-Whirl last year, but they're saying he could be moving up to guessing weight by next year. Because you must be proud, all we are. I fucking love Eddie. I love Eddie.
I would also like to let everyone know that is hearing about Dez's incredibly anal upstairs apartment that
Yes.
he then comes downstairs and leaves trash all over the place and doesn't put anything away and leaves his clothes on the floor. So it's
Really? Gee,
he
I'm
has-
shocked because. Go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say he has his little monument to his mental illness upstairs. But down here, it's a fucking free-for-all.
Yeah, well,
So-
it's no different than my truck either, because there's still a Dunkin' Donuts bag in the passenger seat cubby hole on the door. There's
He
still
does
a
this to
scratch.
me.
There's
He does that to
There's
me.
a dead scratch ticket in there as well. There's at least one Essentia bottle in the back of my truck, in the bed of the truck.
Okay,
Mhm.
so
He gets
I
into my
feel ya.
car and he leaves trash everywhere, but
Yeah.
you get in his car and if you fucking sneeze, it's a problem.
Yeah, I get it.
my car is so clean. It's not a fucking greatest in it. So me and Pat, I was hiding trash in Pat's car forever, right? Like as a joke. I was putting like fucking like half-eaten sandwiches under a seat, whatever I could do. So after about fucking, it was probably a few weeks went by and it was the summer. I'm like, oh, my fucking truck stinks. I'm like, what the
Got him
fuck?
good.
Yeah, Pat had put like some fucking, I think it was macaroni and cheese or something.
Your leftover mac and cheese that you left in my truck.
Okay,
I
so
found it. I found it and put it in a 9-inch roller bucket that was empty in his back seat. He had no idea it was there for weeks.
it grew fucking legs. It smelled so bad.
It was awesome. And then
was
I got
awesome.
him a second time.
Yes,
And
let
this
me
one
tell
I'm
the
not done.
story. So I came home from work, and I come out to my truck, and I find a scratch ticket shoved in the window of my truck, outside my truck.
No,
No?
it was the seam of the passenger door.
Okay,
I
you're right.
Pushed it in where the passenger door closes, so all you saw was like a quarter of an inch of it.
Yeah. So I am a maniac, in case anybody hasn't figured it out. Like, I'm insane.
Duh.
It's fucking crazy. So this happens, and I'm like, fuck, someone fucking did this. So I went to each of our neighbors' doors in the condo, in the courtyard, banging on people's doors. You put those in my truck? No. Did you put that in my truck? No. People are looking at me like, this guy's fucking crazy. I'm holding scratch tickets. I'm enraged. Everyone's like, nah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. So I tell Pat the story. And he's like welling up, laughing. He's like, dude, I put that in your truck. So
2 days
needless-
ago.
Yes.
2 days ago.
After I conducted an investigation on the condo
Oh my
site.
God. Well, thank God I
yes.
gave them presents this year because you're a psycho.
Yeah. So, and needless to say, we don't do the trash game anymore.
No, we called a truce after that because I got him twice good and it was pretty much over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
so
you
it
get him
is-
good.
it is-
He calls time out on that.
So it is 1986 up here. I created 1986. I watch Miami Vice. I pretend it's 1986. I have Nagel pictures on all the walls. Wall Street, the movie poster framed. Everything in here is bizarre 80s. And I have an arcade up here in the other room. I've got Dragon's Lair, the real arcade game. I have NBA Jams. I have Golden Tee. And I have Mortal Kombat. So yeah, it's fucking Rubik's Cubes everywhere, which I can solve in a minute. I can solve the Rubik's Cube I have. Very strange up here. It's very strange. Suits me perfectly. Okay, let's get back to the movie.
Good idea.
Clark still can't believe Eddie crashed the party and is stunned that he is emptying a chemical toilet out into the storm drain underneath his house, which is illegal and unsafe. But we never got a call back on that. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping that maybe Todd and Margot's house would explode when, like, the uncle flicked his fucking, like, cigar out the window or something.
Then we did get a call back.
Oh,
Yeah.
did we?
It explodes.
Yeah.
The
Because-
God,
house?
how many times have you seen this movie?
They're outside. It's near the very end of the movie. When
Yeah, the uncle gets blown up.
uncle is... Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't know how I missed that.
Sorry,
Neither do
sorry,
I.
your mom blew up, Ricky.
Yeah, no
Right?
shit.
I wonder who wrote that. Who wrote that movie?
I don't
I
know.
wonder if it's John Hughes. Okay.
I'm gonna check.
Which is illegal and unsafe. After he and Eddie go shopping, Eddie reveals to Clark that he is flat broke and has no Christmas presents for his children. Eddie then says he cannot take charity from Clark when Clark offers to buy the children presents. I'm literally making this up as I go. I'm not reading the script at all. I've gotten
Oh
good
my
at this.
God.
I've gotten good at when I can't read, just making up a new script.
Especially with a movie, you know.
Yes. So I love here. This is another great scene. So they're in the supermarket or in the super Walmart or whatever the fuck it is, and Clark is offering to buy the kids Christmas presents and give them a nice Christmas. And Eddie's pretending like, no, Clark, I couldn't take any charity. And then he goes, oh, I'll do it anyway. He goes, all right, what the hell? But all this while, he's putting like 50-pound bags of dog food on the shopping cart that presumably Clark is going to be paying for. And then he pulls a list out of his fucking coat that he's obviously written up, knowing that he's going to be asking Clark to buy gifts. And we get the money line. And Clark, get yourself something really nice. I'm fucking laughing out loud. I'm fucking loving this. This is great shit. Delin, what do you got?
Yeah, it's the big bags of dog food that get me every time. It's like $300 worth of dog food.
It's fucking great. He just keeps piling it up.
Oh my God, it's crazy. And it's like, he picks it up and he's like, da-dush, da-dush. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, just so you know, it was a man named Savage Steve Holland that wrote Better Off Dead. And he also wrote One Crazy Summer. So it was not John Hughes, but just so you know, I happened to look it up on the fly.
And both Cusack movies. Mm-hmm. So obviously he liked working with Cusack.
Yes.
I'll tell you another one I would love to do. I would love to do 3 O'Clock High. It's such a good movie. It's one we have to revisit.
Yeah, it's definitely a cult hit.
Yeah, it's very good. Pat, anything on the shopping scene?
Yeah, I didn't notice it the first time, but as Clark and Eddie are walking, and Eddie puts the 6-pack of Alpo in there, and they walk further down, and he throws 3 bags of dog food. And as he's picking up the next bag, Clark puts a package of light bulbs on the dog food that Eddie quickly crushes with the next bag of dog food. Absolutely. It was like seamless. 3 bags of dog food, light bulb, bigger bag of dog food, and you hear the light bulbs crush. God.
It's when he throws the Old Roy on there. It's because that's the 4th bag of dog food is Old Roy. That's so
oh my
funny,
God.
Man. I forgot
it's
all
so
about that.
It happened so quickly. I didn't even see it. I'll have to catch
I didn't see it the first time, but it made me laugh my ass off when I realized it the second time.
That's so good. Dude, and Bethany and what's the uncle's name?
Victor?
I can't remember.
What was that again?
Bethany and her husband, the senile Bethany. What's her husband's name?
Give me a second. I've got that right here. Uncle Lewis.
Uncle Lewis. So I love these two. I love these two. She brings fucking Jello with cat food in it, and she brings her fucking cat wrapped up in
a box.
Oh God! I gotta interject. Probably one of the best Chevy Chase Saturday Night Live callbacks is when he's holding the box by the string with the cat in it, and the damn thing is shaking the box. It's moving around in the box, and it's like the box is alive in his hand. 2-3 times while he's holding the conversation. Oh, I was laughing my ass off. That was so funny.
So I was watching this, and every time he would shake the box, the cat would go, meow. And Mr. Jinx would look over at the TV. And that was so funny. So for the listeners, my cat's name is Mr. Jinx, like in Meet the Parents. And every time the cat would make the noise, my cat would pop its head up and look over at the TV. It was fucking funny. It was making me laugh.
I couldn't help it. Just watching that box jerk around in his hand unexpectedly because the cat's in it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fucking great.
And at the same time, Rusty brings the package This one's leaking. Ellen
Yeah.
puts her finger in it, and Eddie leans over and sucks the stuff off her finger. It's lime.
It's lime.
Yeah, that was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah. Okay, so Clark is seen staring out the window at his future pool, fantasizing about the department store Mary, who is appearing to give Clark a memorable daydream striptease. He is quickly interrupted by Eddie's daughter, Ruby Sue, who thinks he is Santa Claus. She tells him she believes Santa isn't coming. Clark reassures her that the opposite is going to happen. Eddie tells Clark that he's not leaving until January 1st. So I thought this was a cute little scene. I mean, again, this kind of reminds me of the attic scene. You know, it's humanizing Clark, and it's making me care about the little girl, and it makes this movie a little more than just a satire slapstick movie, because you kind of sort of care about these characters where maybe you wouldn't without these scenes. And I love that, his boner breaks the glass, which is funny to me because I am fucking an infant. But this sets up a later scene. So he's telling the daughter, you're going to believe in Christmas and Santa Claus before it's all said and done. I promise. And we're going to get a call back at the dinner table to this, which I love. Yeah, it's very nice. Lynn, what'd you think? Could you have done without this scene as well?
I thought this scene was actually kind of nice, and I thought that I thought the little girl saying he's shitting bricks, and he says you shouldn't say that word, and she said, "Oh, okay, he's shitting rocks."
Yeah. And when she says, he goes, if you're good, Santa. She goes, I was good last year. Santa didn't bring shit. and then the look on his face, on Chevy's face. This is again classic Chevy Chase comedy. He's saying you just have to believe in Santa Claus and your mom, and he's saying, and you have to believe in your dad. Is he saying that? The look on his face, he's like he can barely get the words out. You have to believe in your dad. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
And of course, the pool scene with Mary is a callback to Phoebe Cates.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't want to say Paulina Poroskova is no Phoebe Cates because Paulina Poroskova is gorgeous, but
I would way rather bang Paulina. I'd like to.
Who was that?
Yeah.
What was that name?
Sounded like you said Paul.
So Dylan and I, I'd like to bang Paul. So Dylan and I were watching a reality show that we watched called The Challenge. And it was Women's Day where two women have to face off in a challenge against each other in the gauntlet? The arena.
The arena.
And, every week you don't know exactly what the competition's going to be. But these two chicks were hot. And I looked over at Dylan and I go, I hope it's a vagina eating competition.
I heard about that. He told me about that the very next day. And I looked at him like he had three heads going, what the hell's wrong with you?
He's so proud of himself when he says these friggin' ridiculous things. He just, you can tell he's like doing it and then he's like waiting for the action.
Oh, God.
He said it himself. He's such a child.
Yeah. Infant.
Okay. So, okay, let's move on. December 24th, Christmas Eve. So Christmas for me as a child just fucking sucked, man. I was shuffled around from home to home when I wasn't being left alone in an abandoned building or a fucking weird hotel that my mother had taken a job to watch for the off season and then run off to Boston to be with her boyfriend and left me there at 13 years old in a giant abandoned hotel.
With
No
soy
Christmas
sauce?
presents and soy sauce. And fun fact, I thought that soy sauce was Chinese food until I was about 16. And there were so many Christmases I would be shuffled off to a family members and they had children that they loved and they would buy these children Christmas presents. And then Christmas morning, everybody would get up and run down to the tree to open their presents and I'd have to sit and watch. Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Let that sink in. And sometimes I would get a token present, like a consolation gift, like a $3 sled. But my $3 sled, I would have to look at it and compare it to the $25 sled that the other children that had parents that loved them would get. Okay, let's move on. So it's Christmas Eve. The rest of Ellen's elder relatives arrive. The Griswolds finally got to reward the fruit of their efforts to put on the perfect Christmas Eve dinner with 2 20-pound turkey. Only one turkey with all the trimmings. Uncle Lewis has Clark's 89-year-old Aunt Bethany say grace, but Bethany, due to her age, has a very limited memory and instead recites the United States Pledge of Allegiance. Grace, they want you to say grace. Unfortunately, they left the turkey
Grace
in the
died
oven.
30 years ago.
They left the turkey in the oven too long, and cutting into it means that they have nothing but scrap meat. I'm going to stop here quickly. So my wife is an unbelievable cook now. She can cook like no one's business. This woman makes great food. But actually, on the 23rd, am I correct, Lynn? Is our 20th year wedding anniversary.
It's on the 27th, you goon.
Okay. I was seeing if you were paying attention.
Of course you were.
Okay. So back then. So back then, Delynn was not the great chef she is today. So we had done Thanksgiving dinner, and Delynn was going to cook. We were going to have people over. She made this exact turkey. I mean, she cut into it. It was hollow. It had the guts and the bags and the heart and everything inside it.
No, it did not. I did not.
You did. You
Come
did.
on now.
You cooked it. You cooked it with the fuck. Yes, you did. Pat,
no, I did not.
Pat,
no,
trust
I did
me.
not.
The bag of guts and gizzards.
There's no way in hell I'm going to trust you, Des.
No,
I'm not going to trust you, Des.
No, he is correct in that we cut this turkey open and it was dry as fuck because I overcooked it way too long because the stupid little thing. Okay, so they give you a chart and it says, well, it says on the chart, for this pound turkey, you have to cook it for 3 hours. And I'm like, okay. So I put the turkey in at like 9 and at like 10, the thing popped. And I'm like, it's supposed to cook for 3 hours. It's only been an hour. There's no way this thing is cooked. So I said, well, I'm just going to like cut the difference and I'll take it out at 11. Nope.
Dude.
There was nothing left. There was like some dry meat, but that was it. It was not good. It was not good.
There wasn't enough gravy in the world to fucking save this thing.
No, it was bad.
Eddie's Rottweiler, Snots, drinks the water from the Christmas tree, causing it to dry out. He also is heard gagging on a bone. While that's going on, post-dinner, Uncle Lewis lights a cigar and incinerates the tree in the process. Clark, desperate to reclaim his tree, instead takes a chainsaw to one of his trees in his yard. Aunt Bethany's cat, which had wrapped up and intended to give to one of Griswold's relatives, can be seen chewing on a strain of lights under the Christmas tree and incinerates itself. Post-dinner, Aunt Bethany notices a squeaking noise made from the tree that Clark cut down and brought into the house. It turns out that Clark has just brought a squirrel into the home. Chaos ensues. Snots chases the squirrel around the house, destroying lots of objects in the process. Dude, how did we go from one sentence fucking segments to the rest of the movie?
Where
do I stop? Where do I stop?
Stop when you feel it. Feel it in your heart.
I can't read the rest of this. I feel it in my cold black heart. Okay, let's stop where I
know where you went wrong.
Talk to me, Goose.
You burned the tree down before the cat electrocuted itself.
Okay.
And why?
So let's stop there. They're eating dinner, and Clark sees a flash of light coming from the living room. I fucking laughed out loud because I knew what happened. And fucking he goes in, and there's fucking the uncle with a stogie on fire, and the tree is now just a black skeleton. It is fucking hilarious. He tackles him with the curtains, and this is where Christmas really just goes sideways. It's amazing. Everything goes to shit. And I love this because, one, we get a callback. The dog has been drinking the water. The tree is dry. It goes up. So he gets the tree out, and now this is where fucking Ellen's father is going to get another dig. The tree looked like shit anyway. And then fucking the uncle that just burned it down goes, yeah, you put it out of its misery. And I fucking love these. And then the cat,
And of course,
Eddie,
they break Todd and Margot's window.
so good. As they're saying, where would we get a tree at this hour, Margot? And then the tree busts through the window. It's
Perfect
fucking
timing.
great. It's perfect timing. And then Eddie, if that cat had 9 lives, it just spent them all.
The scene with the cat was the best because as soon as you saw that cat start pulling on the lights, you had to know what was going to happen. And
So good.
they go back to the dining room. They go back to the cat. Now the cat's got like half the string of lights, and it's pulling it towards the chair. And I don't remember why what's his name? Wow.
Clark.
I don't know. Clark, yeah. I don't know why Clark got up, but he gets up and he goes into the living room and notices the lights are out. And he looks around and he plugs the one in, and the big bulbs come on. And you knew the cat wasn't playing with those lights. And when he picks up that second cord, I almost shit myself. I was laughing so hard when that cat went up in flames underneath the chair.
Oh, it's so good.
And all you see, they pull the chair, and all you see is the burned silhouette of where the cat was.
Oh, I love it.
That
I
was
love it.
perfect. You don't see the cat at all. Just
Cat's
the
gone.
silhouette of the shadow of the cat that went up in flames.
And as Eddie is helping Clark carry the chair out to the trash, Clark, do you mind if I kept this and maybe looking to getting it reupholstered? This is some fine.
I'd like to get it fumigated.
I'd like to get it fumigated and reupholstered. It's fucking great. It's all
Yeah,
just
and this
fun.
is also, this movie is the reason why we did not put up a Christmas tree this year, because Des was like, Mr. Jinx will pull those lights down and definitely electrocute himself.
Yeah.
Being somebody who grew up with cats and always had a Christmas tree, we also had a dog with 4 cats. And we learned at a very young age when we helped decorate the tree, you put the plastic ornaments down low. Because that way the cat is going to play with them. The dog's tail is going to knock the damn things off. But one thing we did learn, having 4 cats, because cats like to climb trees, we put the tree in one room that had 2 windows that faced the street. And in between it was a column of wood where the trim was. We would take Christmas ribbon, wrap it around the trunk of the tree, and nail it between the 2 windows. Regardless of whether it's anchored properly, we had to have the tree tied to the wall because
Oh shit.
it never failed. There was always a cat climbing the fucking tree. Always.
Yeah.
Every year.
That's a much nicer Christmas memory than I shared. Glenn, would you like to share a Christmas memory?
I don't think mine would rival any of those.
Yeah, so there we go. So they hear a noise and a squirrel. The squirrel jumps out of the tree, and the dog goes after the squirrel, and it tears the house the rest of the way apart. Okay, so Clark grabs a jacket, and he alludes that he's going to wrap the squirrel up in the jacket and hit it with a shovel. And all
Hammer.
the women
Hammer.
hammer, and I love it. The women all shudder, and then the grandmother faints, and I'm fucking laughing out loud. It's fucking hilarious.
My
It really
favorite is when he says, he's like, I don't know where he is, and he's running, and the thing is on his back.
On his back. Yep.
so good. And then Margot goes over to fucking tell them off, and as she approaches the door, Clark opens the door, and the squirrel fucking hits her right in the fucking face, and he shuts
Followed
the door.
by the dog.
Yeah, and then he shuts the door.
Followed
Squirrel's
by
gone. Squirrel's gone.
I think one of the funniest parts of that whole scene is before the squirrel gets found, Bethany, of all friggin' people, hears the sound first.
Yes.
And as she says it more than once, what is that sound? And the best line comes from what's his name? Her husband,
Oh, Lewis.
Lewis. You couldn't hear a dump truck going to a nitroglycerin factory.
I love
And
it.
I was like, oh my God, that was awesome. She could hear the
It's so
fucking
good.
squirrel, but she can't hear the dump truck going through the nitroglycerin factory.
So good. It's all so good. So Clark loses his fucking shit. He's going to cut down a new tree. He's going to put it up in the living room. He's got the chainsaw. He's fucking cutting off fucking post tops in the house. He's lost his mind.
Yeah.
But he gets his shit back together enough. He's functioning as a human again. And the doorbell rings. And it's the courier. And he's going to tell him, I was supposed to deliver it yesterday, but I lost it in my truck. I'm sorry. Gives it to Clark. It's his Christmas bonus. It's the Jelly of the Month Club. Clark goes completely nuts, and he asks to have his boss brought to his house with a ribbon on his head. I love this scene. Again, this is another callback to the original Vacation, when the family says maybe we should just forget about going to Wally World and just go home. They had just left their dead aunt on her son's porch, and it's pouring rain, and Clark goes on a rant just like this one. And yeah, it's fucking great. And you see Eddie slip out, and presumably you go to get Shirley. Glenn, what do you got on this?
Yeah, him losing his mind with the chainsaw was pretty good. Like, ooh, this post doesn't work. Meh, right through it.
Yeah,
it's like
so
that's
good.
pretty funny.
Fix a new post.
So good. Fix the
Like
new
that-
post.
Yeah, that gave me a good chuckle. And yeah, poor the dude loses his mind, and quite frankly, I don't blame him. He's really clearly what does he say? He's worked there for like 17 years. He's always gotten a bonus, so he's expecting it. You can't work for a company for 17 years and not expect a bonus if they haven't said, "Hey, there's no bonus this year."
That's right.
So
Yeah, it's good.
I can feel his rage, and I don't blame him 1 second.
Yeah, and his house is destroyed. The carpet's destroyed. Snot has fucked up everything. The cat has burned a hole. His chair is on fire. Presumably there's fire damage in the living room from the tree going up. His house is destroyed. His house is destroyed.
The dining room table, the dog ran across it chasing the squirrel.
Christmas is destroyed.
Yeah, if you look, his like curtains are hanging funny. Like, it's a mess.
Yeah, the whole thing is destroyed. Okay, so after all the dust is settled, Clark is reading Christmas stories to everybody, and it's very nice, and it's calm.
Yeah, his dad and him have that nice conversation, which
That's
is
right.
also another touching Christmas moment. He says, you're trying too hard. You just have to enjoy it. You're trying to make it this perfect thing, and not everything is perfect, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, so mid-story, we get Clark notices Eddie with a rather familiar-looking man heading towards the front door. It's Clark's boss, Mr. Shirley. Eddie has fulfilled Clark's wish of wanting his boss to tell him exactly how he feels about the bonuses getting cut. This causes the boss to have a change of heart after seeing how it affects his employees firsthand, but not before his wife and the Chicago SWAT team show up to destroy the house further. After all the dust is settled, the family and the Chicago SWAT team are all gathered outside where Uncle Lewis lights his cigar once again. The sewage that Eddie emptied from his chemical toilet in the RV has caused a radioactive glow. Uncle Lewis drops the lighter, and that creates an explosion that launches the plastic Santa Claus into the air, witnessing the explosion, mistaking it for fireworks and thinking that it's the 4th of July instead of December 24th. Aunt Bethany begins to sing the U.S. national anthem. The family stops fighting and joins Aunt Bethany singing the national anthem, and the SWAT team joins in. The movie ends with them finishing the national anthem and begins to sing Christmas carols, and Clark looking up at the radioactive Santa flying through the night sky. So this, again, is a callback to the end of Vacation. So at the end of Vacation, they have taken Wily World employees, John Candy, another gentleman, hostage, and ridden all the rides. The owner of the park shows up, and with SWAT. And SWAT is going to capture them, and we're going to get a very similar little speech between the Roy Wally and Clark. Imagine if you drove all this way and You ever take your kids on a vacation? You know, he says, yeah, I took them to Hawaii. Well, imagine if when you got to Hawaii, it was closed. Well, they don't close Hawaii. Well, I know, but when we got here, Wally World was closed. And, you know, he talks his way into Roy Wally's good grace. And Roy Wally decides, fuck it, drop the charges. And they open the park up for SWAT and the Griswolds, and they all ride all the rides. Very similar ending here. Very similar. And I really liked it. I thought it was great. I mean, in both cases, he's going to jail, but that's fine. Yeah. So, Dylan, what do you got?
Yeah. Freaking hilarious when Lewis drops the match into the sewer.
Yeah.
And it explodes his own little body up into the air, as well as the Santa Claus.
Yeah, I remember.
Gave me
it
a
now.
good laugh. Yeah, how could you forget that? That's like the
I
penultimate moment in the whole movie.
I know. I fucking lost my mind there for a second.
I mean, it would have been nice if Todd and Margot's house went up as well, but
Yes.
Also she's laying on the couch in her house with the thing over her eyes, and she's like, "Go away, Todd." She's banging at the door. "Go away, Todd. You're gonna have to break in." And they break in, and it's SWAT. So now it's SWAT's in her house too.
so
Which
good.
makes absolutely no sense
sense.
whatsoever.
None. I
Other
also
than
love
to
the-
piss off Margot.
Which is
Right.
perfect. I'll take it. I also love the
Absolutely.
wife. The wife comes in and says, "Oh, you were kidnapped." And he says, "Well, you know, I cut Christmas bonuses." And she was like, of all the cheap ways to make a buck, I was like, I love this woman. Like, she was like,
Oh,
"You
yeah.
idiot." She's like, "I
Yeah.
could have told you that was a bad idea."
Didn't
Yeah.
expect that. Did
Yeah.
not expect her to
To take their
chastise her
side.
husband. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things about it, as SWAT arrives, not only does SWAT arrive, but they rappel down his roof. They go through the two windows in the bedroom, the two windows upstairs, two windows downstairs, through the front door. It was so over the top with SWAT. It was just,
Yeah.
it was too funny. It had to be funny. It was so good.
Then the one scene we didn't talk about just quickly was when Margot punches fucking Todd in the face after being attacked by the dog and the squirrel.
Yeah.
What
Fucking
happened to
great.
you?
Boom.
Boom.
It's fucking great. All right. I think we did it. I think we have broken down Christmas Vacation properly. All right. Let's go to the recasting couch. I would replace all the kids. I would replace the two kids with the original kids from the original Vacation, Michael Anthony Hall. And I don't know the girl's name, but
I remember
would-
her too. That's who I had written down, the original
Yeah.
kids. I mean,
be
I
honest
like
with you,
Juliette Lewis, but
she's fine, but I mean, the original kids were so good, and I really didn't like the kids in either of the sequels. They just, I mean, when you've seen magic, it's hard to go back. Glenn, what do you got?
I mean, I just said, I said to put the kids back in.
Okay.
Although I liked the kid in Vegas Vacation, Nick Papagiorgio.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I was thinking of the European Vacation. You're 100% right. I actually liked both the kids in the Vegas Vacation, specifically Nick Papagiorgio. Yeah. I am from Yuma, and you don't have your glasses on? I do not require them. It's fucking good shit. It's fucking good shit. Pat, what do you got?
I hadn't thought of this before, but it just hit me now. I would replace Randy Quaid with Bill Murray.
Yo, perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
He plays the part perfectly. I think that's a genius recasting.
I love it.
Yeah, I would not want to replace Randy Quaid as Uncle Eddie because he's a great Uncle Eddie, but
If you had to.
Yeah.
you could Bill Murray could absolutely pull this off.
Oh, no
100%.
question. No question.
100%. He'd have to play it kind of like Carl from fucking
Exactly.
Caddyshack.
That's what made me think of it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, final thoughts, rewatch score. I'll make this quick. I am a fan of this entire franchise. For me, I think this is the second best in the franchise. The original Vacation, if we ever do it, it will be a perfect 5 because it is a perfect 5. It's a masterpiece. This is 4.01. It's a very good movie. It's a very strong movie. It's got a couple of potholes in it. Great character building, great characters, great comedy. Like Dylan said, there's a couple of scenes I would probably take out of the movie for rewatches. The pool scene and the attic scene. And for those reasons, 4.01 is my rewatch score. Pat, what do you got?
This is not a movie I've seen very often. For the most part, I think I've seen it like 4 times. But I found that there was a lot of family humor to it. There was a lot of wholesomeness to it. There was a lot of zaniness to it. The squirrel on Chevy's back was priceless.
Priceless.
Priceless. I thought that everybody running around like it was a fucking mountain lion was a little over the top, but it just added to the zaniness.
Oh, I don't know though. If there was a squirrel loose in my house,
Well, that's
be
you.
running.
That's
Yeah.
you in your house. I'm looking at it like it's a fucking rodent. Big fucking deal.
okay.
But I have not seen all these Vegas movies, so I may have to start looking for them. Just so I
Vacation
can,
movies.
yeah, vacation movie stuff.
European
but
Vacation is funny. Vegas Vacation
Vegas
is funny.
Vacation, right,
The
right.
original is funny.
Just watch the original. You don't really need to see the other ones. I know you, Pat. I don't think you would enjoy the other ones, but I know you would like the first one. It's really good.
I'll have to look for it. And that being said, I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5.
All right.
And Dylan, what do you got on this one?
So I like it more than your average movie. Like you said, the comedy is on. There's definitely some things I would have edited out if I was in charge, but it's nothing egregious. I give it a 3.782.
Nice. I like that score a lot. Okay, Dylan, will you please calculate the scores and tell me where it falls on the Hey, did you ever see that movie chart?
So it's a 3.764. Let's see where that takes us. Well, it's up there.
Uh-oh.
It's up there. It
Had a
is
Black
at
Christmas?
number 7.
Number 7. Oh, shit. So this is going to be below fucking Rare Imports.
It's right above Rare Imports.
Oh, good, because it's better than Rare Imports, for sure.
It's
Rare
right above
Imports.
Rare Imports, and it's right under Daddy's Home.
How did Rare Imports land the number 8 spot out of 70
Oh, wait.
movies?
No. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm doing the wrong thing.
Okay.
It's a 3.764, not a 4.7. Hold on, it's dropping down the list.
Oh, Led Zeppelin.
Oh, sorry, my bad. 3.764 takes it to number 29.
Holy shit. Okay, where does it fall? Between what and what?
It is right under The Descent and right above The Departed.
Yeah, this isn't better than The Departed. It's just Departed is fucking great.
Yeah,
But
well,
it's
The
good.
Departed.
Okay.
The Departed got a 3.75, so this is just a little bit better.
Okay, I'm fine with that. So
You're gonna have to be.
Yeah. So guys, listen. Like,
Betty.
review, and share this podcast. It really helps. And if you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe. It makes a difference. Okay.
Subscribe, rate, review, whatever
Yeah.
you can do on the platform that you're listening to us. Like us over on the Facebook page. It's helpful.
Yes.
Any
and
input, good or bad.
yeah. And next year we're hopefully going to be doing, more reviews that the listeners are going to be suggesting. I mean, you guys never suggest anything. I don't know why. It's free. We're not asking for money. I mean, you want to hear us fucking butcher and talk about your favorite movie? Just fucking send in a request to Facebook and we will do it. Okay. Even if you don't listen to Breaking Vinyl, which is our sister podcast, even if you don't listen to it, go listen to this week's, okay? We did Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band by the Beatles. Even if you don't like the Beatles, go listen to this podcast. It's a shit show. It's funny. You will fucking laugh. You will
Guaranteed
cry.
I'll be listening to it tomorrow at work.
It's a very good episode. So go check it out. We will be back next week with Pat again, and we will be wrapping up the Christmas season. And we will be doing a movie that is near and dear to mine and Pat's hearts. It's a movie that we probably should have done many, many, many episodes ago, but we're finally getting around to it. And that is the original Die Hard. Is it a Christmas movie?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Yeah,
Come
so
out
there
to
you
the
go.
coast.
Come out to the coast.
We'll
And
get together, have a few laughs.
and next week, we will be having the Breaking Vinyl Christmas party. I fucking hate Christmas and Christmas music. I think we all know why after this podcast. So yeah, I've made it my personal goal to burn that podcast to the ground. Yeah, so you don't want to miss that. It's going to be entertaining. Okay, Pat, go take your piss. We'll see you next week. I'd like to thank you guys, the listeners, for stopping by, supporting the show, listening to the show. And until next time, I just have one question for you. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you next time.
Bye.